Ladies and gentlemen, we are back by popular demand, and we have a real treat tonight here on Sportswire Radio because he is certainly one of our favorites. He's wearing that brand new merchandise that you better go over to redbubble.com and get your own shirt. But before we speak about that, he is going to talk all things in what is going on in Tennessee backyard wrestling, especially if you're like me and just watched Battlefield and saw Team TBW, Team Resurrection, and his own situation and coming up short with the Intercontinental title when it first looked like he was going to win that title. And plus, who knows what else is on his mind. It's always a treat to have him. He needs no further introduction, but because he is the American Dragon, he has to get that introduction that he so glowingly deserves. So with that, wait for it. Further ado here, in a Sport Report, the number one global sports show. They call him the American Dragon, the Atomic Titan.
Thank you.
How you doing there, my friend?
Doing good.
Always good to be with you. You know that there'll always be fireworks in store when you say something and anything related to one of our very, very favorite companies here on Sportswire Radio called Tennessee Backyard Wrestling. Now, the Atomic Titan, I was first going to say congratulations, but then I'm kind of confused here. On a personal level, I can't say congratulations. And then on a TBW level, I really can't say congratulations because Ledger Shade got the victory for TBW over Resurrection. So let's start from the very beginning. And I thought we were going to have you and you were going to have that Intercontinental Championship belt that we thought you were going to have to continue this story. But for those that are listening and watching here on Sportswire Radio, the American Dragon, the Atomic Titan, what happened in the finals of the Intercontinental title, which robbed you of that championship we thought we were going to have on right here live?
Like I said on Instagram, you ever get that feeling that you feel like you're on top of the world and it just taken away from you just like that by the snap of your fingers? That's what happened. I basically had Gage Flair pinned. He didn't even kick out. His foot was under the rope.
We all thought it was over. I mean, basically everybody, you especially, it was almost like game over.
I was holding up the title and everything.
I know.
Yeah, I guess it was the right decision by the referee. I mean, it happens. But that's why coming up, I'm going to be challenging Gage Flair to a rematch because I believe that this needs to have a good ending. This is a trilogy. So,
well, this is the rubber match if you think about it, because you beat him prior. He beat you in the finals of the Intercontinental title tournament, and coming up, this is the rubber match. I mean, this is basically, if you think about what's happened in TBW the past 3 or 4 months, I know Ledger Shade has been our champion. I know, obviously, he has certainly ruled the world in 500 days. We'll get to that certainly, but this has been the feud that has really been the talk of TBW. So maybe this is the moment that you continue this story and get that happy ending after all.
Yeah, I hope so. But like I said, it lit a new fire in me. I'm not done with Gage Flair. Him and Triple J, I see their videos. They're downtown, still in bars trying to get.
We love you here, but that's gotta gnaw at you. You deep down, you see them with, that's your championship they're with. That's your championship.
Yeah, I know. It is my championship, and that's why I'm going to keep fighting. But, like, I don't even think right now, like, it is about the title, but then again, it's not. It's about shutting Gage Flair up once and for good and, proving him wrong. because he says I'm a failure, but I'm gonna prove him that I'm not.
Does that bother you more than anything else when he calls you a failure rather than even, let's say, him taking the title from you? Because it's one thing if he would have said something else, but failure is a strong word, especially when it comes to your career in TBW, what you've done for this company. To the
Mhm.
fact that he calls you a failure, that's got to eat at you personally.
It does a lot. Because I've never gave up. I mean, I've been sneaky behind people, turning my back on them in the past and all that. So, but I've like I said, I'm a changed man. I'm not that way no more. I'm fighting for what's right. I want to be the top, face of the company. And I believe I am.
I think you are too, but and let me get your thoughts on it because this season it's been a tough season for you. We thought when you came back it was going to be a special season. We thought everything was going to work out where we would even have you as the world champion a few months back. That's how this has been going here, but it's almost like, how can I put this? There's a wrestler in the UK that we do a lot of work
Mhm.
with,
Yeah.
Bentley. He's the vigilante of pro wrestling.
Hmm.
And the joke is in the UK, he's been called the Almost Man. This season in TBW, I feel like the Atomic Titan is the Almost Man. I mean, how do you feel about that? Because you've almost been the world champion. You've almost been the Intercontinental champion.
And
It's
almost the
almost,
U.S. champion
I
too.
was, yeah, I mean, so how do you feel about all that?
Man, it like I've came so close and fought so much to try to get my hands on some gold, and every single time it slips through my fingers, it's always something. And I'm literally trying to figure it out what I could do to possibly, you know, overcome these obstacles right here, and actually get the gold on my hands.
I'll get to comments in a second because I have a ton of comments. But
Like,
sometimes some wrestlers, I've asked this question lately, and they've given me different thoughts. I'm curious on your perspective on it.
mhm.
Is it luck? Do you think? Is it just bad luck, bad timing? Some guys I asked that have been in this predicament on Sportswire of late, all around the world. Some guys will tell me, "No, Tom, it's just that's how it goes, and you have to roll with it." Other people say, no, I don't believe in luck, and it's just, that, or others do believe in it. I mean, where do you fall on that spectrum?
Maybe it's just bad luck right now, or just like you said, just the timing of it.
Sometimes timing, listen, with Bentley had 4 cracks at the world title, and he
Yeah.
didn't win each time. Now he wins the title and then predictably loses it 5 minutes later. So, I mean, so that's maybe it's better to be where you are, but I mean, you have to be focused in a certain way. Now you're going to challenge Gage. You're going to go at this one more time. He's used the words failure. This is almost the moment of backs against the wall right now
Hmm.
because we've talked about the U.S. title with you. We've talked about the world title with you. We saw what happened in the Fugazi situation there with the Intercontinental title the first time. But like this is backs against the wall Atomic Titan. So
Hmm.
how are you approaching this then?
Well, how I'm approaching it is, I go in there every time, with that mindset that I'm gonna get the job done, that I'm gonna, do my best, give 110% to the audience, and when I guess it comes to when I just couldn't get it done. You know what I mean? It's
Does it
always
e-
some kind of obstacle I can't
Yeah,
overcome.
you've had that, but does it even? I even have to say, because let's even talk about Battlefield for a second. I promise I will get to everybody. I really do. But I mean, Gage Flair gets the victory and you get eliminated. I mean, did you see irony in that? I mean, we opened the show in Battlefield, Gage gets the win, and then your team gets eliminated. You were
Yeah.
one of those people eliminated as well. I mean, talk about the irony in that.
Well, you see, Gage Flair cheated to win. He hit him with the brass knucks, obviously. Oh my god.
But in
And
the record books, they unfortunately
yeah,
say win's a win. You know that.
yeah, win's a win. Yeah, you're right. And I got eliminated by Adrian Prince.
Yep.
And I didn't like that. That guy's a big guy, and he hit me pretty hard. And
Were
then
you mad even? And let's even put this out there. I don't know how you probably knowing you're too modest, you're too humble. But were you mad that you weren't even picked to be the captain of the team? I mean, because I think the obvious one should have been Atomic Titan should have been the
yeah, like
captain of the team.
Jacob
I think
Young,
I think
really.
everybody I think everybody was looking at that like, huh?
And then Max Chaos, he wanted to smart off to me backstage. He said,
Yes.
I was like, okay, I'll see you out there. But he didn't he couldn't even survive. I believe he was like eliminated before me. He couldn't make a tag. That's how good the strategy was for Team Resurrection right there because they knew what to do right there.
But that's to me, I would have thought naturally Atomic Titan, he's the man. He's been the man of this company. He's done it all. Why wouldn't have he been the captain? Did that irk you first? Because that's almost another thing. That's another thing that almost contributes to this whole almost story here. Because here we go again. I was kind of waiting for that moment. Okay, where we're gonna name Atomic to be the captain, and yet Jacob Young? Jacob Young?
You if you were watching, you should have seen the look on my face.
I did.
All the people watching, I was like, wow. This guy, the Black Fox, Jacob Young, he's going through some battles right now, but it was really disappointing that I wasn't the captain because I believe if I was the captain, I could have led the team to victory, but
Did you now don't tell me if you can't, but after the match, did you have words with Team TBW about that, or what was morale like? Knowing that
it was just
we
a
lost.
bunch of controversy because we obviously couldn't get the win there. So
and then there was the whole thing with the Grim Reaper and what the Grim Reaper was going to do, and then I guess he decided after all what he was going to do, and
I guess he got the last laugh.
Well, he's the Grim Reaper, but
Yeah.
Let me get to some comments here because people do want to say hello. Soldier GP says it's about time you're here. Yes, and we're very happy that the Atomic Titan is here. Good evening, guys, from Frankie the Villain. Of course, Mr. Painmaker always has something to say. This failure. He also goes, yours, it is on your shoulder. No, it's on the woman. Someone, myself, and Mr. Ledger put down if anyone knows the real Titan. It's me. First of all, what do you want to say about that?
Well, what I'm going to say is he says it's not on my shoulder, obviously, Painmaker. You want to say the real me. Well, like I said, I'm not under your, partnership or whatever you want to call it anymore since 2021.
But that's when you had a lot of success, and he brought that up when the Painmaker was here. He brought that up.
He did, and I don't know what to say about that. Honestly.
I think we're all kind of like shock and disbelief because we all believe in you and we thought that you were going to finish the story. And I hate to bring this up, but Soldier GP kind of says like coming so close basically means you lost. It's like the words of a loser. And we know you're not a loser, but he's not wrong in that sense. I mean, how do you feel when you hear things like that? Because the footsteps are there. I mean, this was the season we thought you were going to come back on the mountain. You were going to reclaim your place, but do it the right way. And here we are, and we're kind of like Crimea River almost.
Like it's just another chapter. It's another roadblock. I mean, when people say I'm a loser, a failure, whatever, it just puts more fire in me to make me want to keep fighting more and never give up. And
are the fans keeping you afloat? Are the TBW, the loyal TBW fans, are they the ones that are kind of getting you through this tough time? Because this is really one of the toughest times of your career. This is really one of the toughest times you've had.
Yeah, I believe so because I've never went through anything like this.
No, we've had you on before. We recapped your career. Your career is as good as anybody's in TBW history, and like this is growing pains almost in a way.
Yeah, it's very hard, and like when people say I'm a loser, failure, I'll say that again. It makes me think about it because when Gage Flair won and all these people were congratulating him and all this, it just made me
He
think
was out
about
on the
that.
town. He was partying. He even messaged me, Gage Flair. He even messaged me and did the woo, was talking as if like it was 1986 all over again. I mean, he's partying right now.
Uh,
Listen, the Nature Boy is probably out there. Who knows? He's in a limo somewhere in Nashville. He's probably got 10 beauties right around him. I mean, he's partying as if it was like 86 all over again.
he can party all he wants, but whenever that rematch comes, I'm gonna actually probably get the job done. I
I
believe
hope you
myself
do
now.
because people are going to come on here and they're going to be like,
Now, if I really don't win this time, then yeah, I don't know what's next for me. Honestly, I have to get
well,
this.
you know,
I have to
you
get it
just said
done.
something interesting, and I have more comments. There's champions here that want to talk to you. I'll
Okay,
get to that, but you said something interesting. But if you don't win this one, because you kind of just let something slip there, I mean, is TBW a place for the Atomic Titan still? I mean, can you hang in TBW if you don't win this? I mean, you know, is TBW a place that you can still call home?
I believe it is.
You do,
I do.
right?
I've went to a few different promotions and everything, but I believe TBW is my home. And no matter if I lose, like I said, I don't know what will be next for me if I do end up losing, but I will admit I lost.
But you haven't. But obviously, you can't picture that yet. You have to go
I
out
can't.
there
Yeah,
because
I believe I'm gonna win.
you got to believe that. Because as you know, here on Sportswire, I interview a lot of athletes. We do a lot of college basketball, college
Hmm.
coaches, and we talk to them a lot before the big game. And I'll always tell them, I'll try to give them the pep talk, or they'll say the right things and say, yeah, we're not thinking about that. We're just thinking about the task at hand. We haven't thought about what happens if we lose, like we do playoff coverage here with a basketball team here on Long Island. And we've talked about the guys, and
Hmm.
and the guys would come on and say, Tom, we're not thinking about that. We're just thinking about the game, and we're thinking about just trying to win. So you can't really think about the what ifs. You have to just think about the now, the here and the now. Is that
Hmm.
you've got Gage Flair one more time, and you got to get it done because this is the rubber match. I have more comments here. I want to say hello to a few champions. First of all, a champion
What's
from
the
the great
ADT?
state of Alabama, Mr. ADT, the very, very dominant Alliance Wrestling League champion of the world. We just heard him on Saturday's show. He is one of my favorites. He is on YouTube at Alliance Wrestling League. Instagram, ADT _ BYW. Also, Alliance _ Wrestling _ League. We'll have more Alliance Wrestling League coverage coming up on Labor Day weekend. Yes, Tom Bryce is working Labor Day weekend. He is working on Labor Day because the people want coverage on Sportswire. Stay tuned for more details on that. Speaking of new champions, he's literally just a few hours after winning back his IMF championship. Mr. Omen Black says, hey, Titan, welcome back to my show, the Champ Show, though. He also wants to address James Marshall because on Thursday, we'll be seeing WC and IMF in the house. And he says, James Marshall, you ain't fill in the blanks, but a pathetic nerd cosplaying as a wrestler. But do you hear these footsteps? Atomic Titan can't win the big one, can't get it done anymore. How does that make you feel? Because now this isn't me, right? This is your colleagues. These are
Yeah,
peers in this industry now. Peers in this industry that are saying, what is going on with the Atomic Titan? I mean, how does that make you feel?
man, Tom, I'll just be honest. I'll just have to prove them wrong.
You're gonna do it. You're gonna
I'm
do
I'm
it.
gonna I'm gonna do it
You
eventually.
got this.
I
I'm
got I
telling you,
got
you got this. Because you still got the ring ability. You got the fans behind you. You gotta believe it. You gotta picture it. Is if you
yeah.
don't, you're gonna come on here again. And we're gonna do this dance. It's like even Bentley, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to give you a pep talk here because Bentley's come on here 10,
Mhm.
11 times. He's almost become like
Mhm.
grandfathered into Sportswire.
Yeah.
After all the almost is, he won 2 Rumbles. He won 2 Battle Royals in 2 weeks. And he got 2 world title shots coming up. So the moral of the story is you can't give up. Like Jimmy V said all those years ago, don't ever give up. So you can't give up. And that's why we want people to follow the Atomic Titan on Instagram at Atomic Titan. Also, Tennessee Backyard Wrestling on Instagram and YouTube. Go and watch the Battlefield show and get ready for episode 150 and more. The Atomic Titan will definitely be there. The Painmaker wants to also say further, it was me that led you to the promised land. And now look at you, weak, broken, and shattered. Ooh, tough, tough words there from the Painmaker himself.
All I'm gonna say is, you know, I did when I won the last world title back in 2020.
Yes.
Um, that wasn't because of him.
I know, I know, I know, I
It
know.
was
You
because
held
of
it,
someone else. Obviously, I had to have help there. Wins
but
a
you did
win.
hold it for a long time, and you
I did.
stayed
I,
as champion.
I
You were
did
very successful.
hold it from November 28th, 2020 to
Yep,
June 26th, 2021. So,
yep. About almost 9 months, if I'm not mistaken, right? Just about.
yeah, yeah. Had a great feud there with Big Mac, former
Yep.
wrestler. And but to Josh, like I said, we were the industry on top of the world. We were, running TBW back then. We were the top guys. We had me, you, Max Chaos, Matthew Joseph, Anthony Steele all in the mix. And, it all came crashing down eventually. And that was
But
when,
he feels though. Listen, the Painmaker feels right now with what he's got is it's more dominant than when he had you as the champion. That's kind of he said that here on this show, and to be fair, he can't be proven wrong because
yeah, he's not wrong.
Mr. Ledger got the victory over Rage, and everybody was kind of surprised about that. And he's 500 days as champion plus.
Yeah, 500 plus days. And it's unbelievable. Someone has to it's either me or someone else needs to step up and take that title. I'm dealing with something else right now.
Well, you're
You
focused on
know,
Gage Flair, the Nature Boy
but
Gage Flair,
whoever
but
his next challenger is,
well,
they
I've got a lot more comments, and I'm going to try to get to them. Yeah, I got a lot of comments here, a lot of
all right.
interesting comments, and I just want to say these are the people's comments, not my comments, because we try to be down the line here. I really do at this point. I really do. You know what they say? Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. Unfortunately, Titan is neither a soldier or a cowboy. I don't know about that. I do want to say hello to TBK, the Baltimore kid, because his podcast is now being played on Sportswire Radio's internet radio station, sportnarium.com/player. And he also did a Bray Wyatt tribute show, which I really enjoyed. And we've been playing that throughout the day here on Sportswire and throughout the week. But that's his opinion. But he also says, but with that out of the way, he says, good evening. Yes, good evening to you as well. But, Owen Black, in his
He
comments
must.
here. Oh, there's something here that I'm going to have to bring up. I was really trying to focus more on you and on-screen stuff, but
Okay.
I'm going to have to do it. So I'm going to do it because Owen Black is basically, he asked a comment. He says he thinks that James Taylor is the man that could end the Shane's reign. And he says, what do you think? Now, we know, obviously,
Yeah.
that there's some news about James Taylor, which broke here on Sportswire, which was on his Instagram before he came on, that he's no longer a part of TBW. So, I mean, was he the guy to basically end that reign? Or, what do you think?
He could have been. You never know. When he's, stepped face to face with Ledger, he could have been that guy. James Taylor's, he's an icon in the backyard. He's who he says he is. He goes out there and kicks ass.
Yeah,
So,
it's tough. I mean, I think we're all kind of disappointed about the news with him, obviously, out of TBW.
mhm.
And I was trying to, focus on that in a positive light because I
Yeah,
think it's obviously unfortunate. Sometimes things do happen,
it
and
wasn't a bad
obviously,
blood or nothing.
we obviously wish everybody well on both sides of it. And obviously, Mr. Taylor is here. He puts the eyeballs there. I mean, anything you want to say to him? Anything that nah, just move on. All right.
I mean,
Well,
if he thinks he can beat Ledger, then
well, do you think then he should come back to TBW then if he can beat him? I mean, that's
yeah, he
something.
should. He should if he want. Yeah,
So you think that he could come back to TBW?
yeah, I believe he can.
I would love to listen.
Anything's open.
And why not? Listen, Vince McMahon always says, "Listen, the door is always open." So I mean,
Yeah.
if that's the case, I mean, listen, why not? I mean, listen, there's an old adage in life: hope springs
Mhm.
eternal, and you can follow James Taylor on YouTube at Taft Taylor, Instagram and TikTok at Taft_Taylor. The Princess Kiara, I don't know who that is, and she says it goes back to Omen. But let's go back to the Paymaker. He says, Omen, hear me and hear me well. Nobody is going to end the end of the Anarchy King. My Anarchy King of the Anarchy era of the Anarchy Kingdom. I do want to bring this up for a minute because obviously, let's talk about 150 for a second, which is going to come out next week because obviously this week is going into Labor Day week, which is great. I'm glad, by the way, that you didn't put the show out, whoever it is, this Thursday because I really want to see Equalizer 3 in IMAX. So, by the way, thank
Okay.
you very much, whoever it is, because I really am excited about this movie. So, the fact that I can actually watch this movie comfortably in IMAX and not worry about missing a wrestling show on Thursday, I'm very happy about that. But, I mean, I have to ask you because I know you're busy with Gage Flair, and we saw what Mr. Legend did to Rage. We saw what Mr. Legend did to the Alpha Daniel Cole. We really haven't heard from him since. I mean, who could do it? I mean, James Taylor obviously is no longer in TBW for now. I mean, Jack Delta is not in TBW at the moment. He announced his retirement. I mean, that would be another guy I think a lot of people would have seen and maybe could have had a shot. Jack Delta just wrestled Brady Branson, the new XCW champion. So that would have been another name. But I mean, like, who else? Like, do you have an inkling on who could do it? I mean, the Grim Reaper, Joe Anderson. Maybe we go back down that road
Yeah,
after what we saw in Battlefield. What do you think?
you see, Joe Anderson is the last guy to pin Ledger. He hasn't been
Yep.
pinned, obviously, in like.
He was impressive in Team TBW, Team Resurrection. If there's anybody that does have the history, I guess. But I mean, you know, I asked the Paymaker. I even, as you know, told Paymaker last month, what's left? What is left for the Ledger King?
What is left? I mean, they just added Spade and Club back to the Anarchy Kingdom.
And who knows if COVID wasn't contracted, what would have happened with them?
Yeah, I mean, they could have won the Intercontinental Championship.
Or maybe they could have eliminated Gage Flair, and that would have helped you somehow.
Yeah, you're right. Another guy I could possibly see if he, returns sometime soon. Maybe Manny Cobra.
Well, Manny Cobra is here, by the way. I'm going to actually jump up the comments here to say hello to Mr. Manny Cobra.
What's
He
up,
says,
Manny?
anything you want to say to Manny?
Manny, I hope to see you back soon. And I think your last match was against Aunt Joe, I believe.
Yep, the Grim Reaper.
The hardcore, yeah. So, if you think you can step up and beat Ledger, then, come back.
Maybe it's a possibility down the road that Mr. Cobra would want to come on Sportswire. Who knows? I mean, listen, hope springs eternal.
Another guy that he has the briefcase.
Yep.
Russell Cooper.
Yes.
The ringleader. He might be the guy. He could cash in any moment.
True, but and the dogs basically are the equivalent of Club and Spade right now, because that was going to be my follow-up, though. But Mr. Ledger's got Club and Spade right now. I mean, do you think that kind of prevents that kind of cashing in almost?
Yeah, see, the numbers, Josh will say, like, strength in numbers and all that. That always comes into play. You see what happened at Anniversary.
Yep.
They, took out Daniel Cole. That was a horrific ending. People got screwed there. But, like I said, if it's Russell Cooper, he cashes in, he better be watching his back, because them two people can come out from anywhere. And
yeah, see, that's the thing. And I said this, and I will get to more comments. I have a ton of people that want to say hello, and just please be patient. I said this when the Painmaker was here. I mean, they're more dangerous. They're more deadly now because they have the backup. I mean, so it's almost like, how do you counter them? How do you, and that's really the big question right now in Tennessee Backyard Wrestling. And I want to say hello to somebody who came on the show yesterday, who has quickly become one of our favorites. He is the first real wrestler of our industry, real within the real, meaning wrestling reels. He is Mr. Justin Parsley, a.k.a. Parsleys. You can follow him on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook at Parsleys. He also does a show called Protect Life, which is talking about mental health and well-being, and we expect to be playing that on our internet radio station soon, sportnarium.com/player. He just beat in XCW SummerMania 18. He defeated Fletch, Mr. Fletcher himself, the man behind XCW, and now he basically lays claim to another victory, and he's certainly done a lot, and we had a tremendous honor to speak with him on his career, and he says hello.
Yeah, I also met Fletch before, and I met Corey Lee.
Yes, Corey Lee. By the way, I have to say this, Corey Lee's no longer the champion. Justin and Corey Lee, the Salvation, Corey Lee are actually cousins.
Oh,
who would have figured? You never know, right? Small world. But let me get to more comments here while I have a chance. Omen Black here says, listen here, Danny DeVito. You can continue to live in shadow, ironic, but soon your gravy train is going to be derailed. So go ahead, Penguin. Tell your queen that and let me know what he says. He's addressing Mr. Ledger. I also want to say hello to somebody up here in the UK at 3:36 in the morning, Daniel Banner, the cosplay kid who is from the cosplay kid from GT Ministries, who was in their battle royal last month. He says Atomic Titan with the atomic drop. All right, well, that sounds
A move
interesting.
I could possibly.
He also says attack on Titan more like. So he wants you to attack more. So that's good to know. Also here, let me get into some more comments. Atomic, don't listen to these guys. You do you, but be that failure you are. So that's kind of
I have to prove you
tough
wrong,
comment.
soldier.
Well, Painmaker, your champ won't be champ if the foundation showed up in Tennessee. Well, I mean, that's stay tuned to be continued. I want to say hello also to Mr. Dirty Donnie. We'll see him on Thursday's show with the IMF and WCE. You think the Anarchy Kingdom is scared of the foundation? No, and they're not going to be. I mean, what do you think they're going to say? Yes? Spoiler, I heard Ledger is holding the title until anniversary next year. Comments on that Titan? Basically, anyone that book. Well, this is kind of it. I mean, I don't know how you'd be able to answer that because you're only here on talent. So I don't know really
All I would
realistically.
say is just wait and find out. I can't
Well,
really.
you know, I'm going to answer that in a way that I would answer that for any company because, as you know, we do
Yeah,
professional, we do
yeah,
independent, we do underground, whatever you want to call it, amateur pro, as Fletch calls
mhm,
XCW.
yeah,
Anything can change. No,
yeah,
the future in life, right? Leave aside what's going to happen next year. The future in life is not guaranteed. I don't know
yeah.
what's going to happen tomorrow. So let me get to 150 first, and then I'll talk to you about whatever else is going to happen. So I always say that in a good way. And I would say that if anybody's here, I don't know what 9 months could be. Just like if Craven Rage was here, because Craven Rage, by the way, he's been champion too almost 500 days. And people are wondering what's going on with Craven Rage. I mean, that might be a champion that might be far more controversial than anybody else because depending on who you believe and what you think there, nobody thinks he's a worthy champion. Not my opinion, but that's what people out there say through the grapevine. So, each to its own. We try to give
Mhm.
everybody a fair shake, but we're here on Sportswire Radio. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. I am the man behind Sportswire Radio and your voice of all wrestling. And we are here right now with the American Dragon himself, the Atomic Titan, who is talking all things related to Tennessee backyard wrestling and this story that he is continuing, where he's going to try to write this happy ending very soon against the Nature Boy, Gage Flair, for that Intercontinental Championship that the Atomic Titan should have had. And if you're on YouTube right now on Sportswire Radio, give us a sub. We're also on Twitter at Thomas Price 2017, Instagram at the Sports Report 2021, and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can listen to all of our great content on sportnarium.com/player, where, yes, we have an internet radio station. If you have a podcast out there for free of charge, we'll let you play it out there to the masses, to the worldwide audience. And we play all types of things, whether it's sports, whether it's talk. We simulcast these shows. I also program music in there. So whatever you have, we give people that opportunity. That's what we do here, free of charge. We do that because we want to give people a voice and a platform. And I'll be back here also tomorrow with more coverage with the Big Cheese Logan, who was just at AEW's All In, and you were just at AEW's last show in Nashville. I will talk about that in a second. And he is also going to be wrestling in GT Ministries on the 30th of September in a match, the Atomic Titan, that Sportswire Radio and yours truly is kind of responsible for, with Joel Cobra from the Modern Day Mafia in GT Ministries in Stockton. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Beelzebub and the Big Cheese coming up here on the 10th of September, over actually the 8th of September at CCW's next show. So we're going to talk about all of that. You can follow him on Instagram at the Big Cheese Logan, YouTube Mad Manx. Also give him a friend request on Facebook and support our friends GT Ministries UK, Wrestling Church FCB on Facebook, and also CCW Colory Championship Wrestling on Facebook. But in the meantime, we are here with the Atomic Titan, who's getting ready to show down in the rubber match with the Nature Boy, Gage Flair for Intercontinental. I'll come back to comments in a second, but I have to ask you.
Mhm.
You were at the AEW show last in Nashville.
Yeah,
How did
yeah.
you like the experience?
I've went before. This time was actually is pretty cool. It was entertaining. I've read like some comments where people's like, yeah, this is like the worst Dynamite ever. but it was all right for what it was.
AEW
The
fans, though,
Texas
yeah,
Chainsaw Massacre match was.
AEW fans are so hard to almost please more than
Hmm.
any other fan. It's like your fan base, right? Your
Yeah,
devoted fan base that
yeah.
you're a part of in TBW.
Hmm.
You're not going to please everybody. So AEW, unfortunately, because they have such a big roster
Hmm.
and they only can do so much in that 2 hours, it's tough to please everybody almost.
I will say that match on Rampage between Ray Phoenix and
Yep,
Commander was really good.
absolutely.
That was great to see. And
Ab- Absolutely.
the
Anything
young
else of note?
the Young Bucks match was pretty good there.
Yes.
But it was a good experience. A lot of people there, friendly people. Met a guy that actually he was sitting behind us. He made the ring for AEW Double or Nothing, the very first
Oh,
ring.
wow.
Yeah,
2019, sure.
yeah, yeah. And he's like, "Here's my number if you ever need a ring."
Well, did you take his number, first of
Yeah,
all?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, that's good. So listen, maybe once you continue this story and win that Intercontinental title, you got his number. Maybe give him a call and say, hey, maybe there's a way I could find myself in AEW somehow. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
just saying. I mean,
that's
listen,
pretty cool.
Anthony Steele went on here a few weeks ago and said, I'm going to be going to WWE. I filled out an email for a tryout, and that's not going anywhere, obviously. So, we'll see, but you never know. Never say never here.
Hey, you
But
never know.
I did want to ask you, and I'll get to comments, but I almost have to ask
Hmm.
because I've asked everybody this and everybody's talking about it. It's kind of really sad. And obviously, if you saw kind of the medical report that was done now and kind of how he passed away, I'm talking about the legendary Bray Wyatt, who passed
Hmm.
away at the age of 36. So I know you obviously know Mr. Wyatt very well.
Yeah.
You've obviously watched him. I'm curious, what did Bray Wyatt mean to you?
He meant a lot to me. He was one of the reasons was actually watching, Raw and SmackDown through the pandemic
Yep.
era. Or whatever. Just the way like when he debuted and then all his promos, even leading back to NXT. If you listen, it like it might not make sense to some people what he was saying, but if you really listen, it actually, you take a lot from it and his promos. He might have not been the best in like the ring, but he was a really unique and inspiring, character, good guy. I heard backstage and likable guy. He's truly an icon.
Well, Alexa Bliss had said basically, her revival was really due to him. And I was
Yeah,
hearing something else that Becky Lynch had said. I think it was about going through a table or something, that he was kind of like responsible for kind of like mentoring her a bit. So, I mean, you really
yeah,
wouldn't have known these things about him, but he was actually a big influence backstage, and nobody
hmm,
really kind of knew that about him, and he was kind of away for so long, and you were kind of wondering, where is he? And then you hear
yeah,
these reports about a defibrillator, and he didn't wear the defibrillator, and really sad stuff at 36
yeah.
years old.
Yeah, it's very sad. He was very creative.
Absolutely. I think I said this on a show, maybe it was on James Taylor's show as well, the Nemesis Sessions, in that I think he was probably one of the last great character wrestlers
Yeah,
that the WWE had created. If you think about it, I mean, it's
yeah.
very hard to have a character wrestler these
You
days.
don't really see like many characters like that anymore. But
No,
like Bray Wyatt, he always reinvented himself.
he
And
was what you call a chameleon.
yeah,
It's
he
really sad stuff. And yeah, you had a thought on Terry Funk?
Terry Funk. I know who he is, but yeah, like he's a different generation. So,
Sure, sure.
but
But
it's
Bray
sad to
was
see him go.
definitely, I can
Yeah,
understand that.
yeah, and
All right.
plus he was younger. It's
36. I mean, listen,
yeah,
there's people in the chat that are probably around. I'm a little younger than him, but it's, he's a contemporary of mine.
yeah,
That puts life into perspective that a guy is 36 years old
yeah. You
died.
just
I
never
mean,
know. You never know when your
well,
time is.
that's why let your hearts not be troubled, because I bring this comment up again, that Nobody knows what the future brings.
You
Let's
already.
enjoy what we have in front. Forget about the politics about what James Taylor said or this person said. Let's enjoy what we have as wrestling fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take a step back. Right? We've had some shows here on Sportswire, and I'm going to go opine for a second. We've had shows on here where different people come on, whether it's Anthony Steele as an example, and he says things and people get riled up. But the truth is, everybody's trying to do something for the greater good and what they believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's trying to do something for what they feel is best. So at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day, let's try to appreciate what's in front of us. Let's try to enjoy the moment, and whatever comes in the future, so be it. Obviously, there's always going to be differences in people, how they feel, also differences in how people go about it. But at the end of the day, people are just trying to express themselves. And that's the most important part, which goes back to the moral of the story. Bray Wyatt was 36 years old, left behind 4 kids, left behind a young fiance.
Mm-hmm.
They're without a father, a leader, a person in their family. They can't change that. The moral of the story is here. Let's, in front of us, enjoy the moments, and we'll worry about the future when it happens. So let's get to some more comments here in the
And
present
then
tense. Yeah,
another
jump
thing,
in.
another
Sure.
thing I'll say about what you said is enjoy the moments that are in front of you right now because they become memories, and
That's it. Listen,
you just have to look back on memories.
I will tell you this much. I'm doing this 5 years. I've interviewed a lot of people, right? Not just wrestlers. I've obviously done. I have a background in news. I have a
Mm-hmm.
background in politics. I talk about it all the time, kind of like poking fun at myself. And I do college athletics. I have a background
Yeah.
in college. I always tell people that I wish I would have done more what I'm doing now than in 5 or 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I would have done more of it before I started Sportswire. So the fact of the matter is that let's just try to take things back from when we started. And I promise you, all the stuff that you hear and read about, whether it's been on here,
Mm-hmm.
social media, it'll sort itself out. So at the end of the day, you just never know. And you talk about the word memories, right?
Yeah.
And that's all we have is memories, right? All this stuff I have on me now, my microphone, my headphones, my shirt, I can't take that with me when the time comes.
Yeah.
So let's try to make positive memories. And I think we're all going to do that here. Let's try to come back to the basics. But let's get to comments here. Uh, Omen Black calls the pain maker the cake maker.
Cake
But
maker.
well, I would like to know, Omen, what would be the cake that you'd want the cake maker to make? Because I'd be curious on what kind of cake you'd like to eat or for the audience to eat. Boy, you don't want the foundation to show up in Tennessee and beat down your precious queen, Danny DeVito. So it sounds like the foundation and Mr. Ledger and Mr. Painmaker are sort of maybe going back and forth with
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Painmaker, but that's up to them. Painmaker, I bet you look ridiculous right now with your mascara. I don't think he has mascara on right now. Do you? Do you think he still has that stuff on? I mean,
He
do you
still
think so?
might. He probably wears it all the time.
Daniel Banner wants to tell me that hello, Tom and Mr. Titan. Like it or not, I will be the king of pirates. I mean wrestlers. Okay, well, you know what? If that's what you can do, and you got to go out there and prove it, and you got to tell your trainer, Sean, only that. That's to
Achieve
your
it.
trainer.
Achieve your dream. Chase it.
Absolutely. Manny Cobra says it'll be an honor to be on your show. So yeah, message me. I'm on Instagram. I don't know if we follow each other, but I'm on Instagram at the Sports Report 2021,
His
and I'm here.
Instagram is Puerto Rican Nightmare Manny Cobra, I
Yeah, I
believe.
don't. Yeah, we might follow each other, but
Yeah.
I'll move on with that. Who
Yeah.
agrees with me? Roman Reigns story. We'll move on from that. I get all that. I want to say hello to a couple of people here, specifically from ROEW. I'll come back to some other people here. Hope you win that Intercontinental title so I can win it off of you. Long overdue match. Now this is something
Yeah.
Atomic Titan, and you're gonna have to answer this right now because
Yeah.
Jason Storm and you have gone back a few different times here in the past.
Yeah.
So what is your response toward that? Well, I take my
Well,
headphones off.
if he says he's gonna take it off of me if I win it, well, that's not correct. But long overdue for a match. Yes. I'm trying to figure out a way for you to come to Tennessee so we can finally have that match. I know we went back and forth on Instagram and all that for a while, and plans have fell through a few times, but hopefully we can actually make it happen in a few months. And I'm looking forward to it.
He's the ROEW World
Yeah,
Champion. Though. I mean,
I'd be honored to face him.
well, and don't you think that like the ROEW World Champion, that would be a big deal to you and him in a match? Whether
Oh yeah,
think about that. I mean, that would be a
yeah,
great match. I mean, a lot of people would want to see that. I mean, it's almost like how people had said they want to see James Taylor and Ledger Shade. I mean, if there's a way to make it happen, I mean, I think people would like to see that. Daniel Banner also wants to tell me that his birthday is September 6th. So I will wish you a happy birthday on the 6th of September. Remind me, September 6th is next Wednesday. I actually have, I think, Dalton Garrett and Champagne Charlie from CCW on there. So come on the show, and I'll wish you happy birthday there then. CJ Black wants to say, what the hell is the Atomic Titan doing on my best friend Omen's show?
CJ.
You want to say anything to that? Or not really. All right, we'll move on from that.
I don't know what to say. It just made me laugh. Oh my God, he's still going at it.
Well, I should address this, not toward you, but there's been talk through the grapevine about the foundation coming to Tennessee. What do you think on that? Would you like to see them in Tennessee?
Oh yeah, I'll give them an invite to TBW. I'll gladly step in the ring with them, whoever they want to face.
Well, there was a lot of talk about James Taylor and Soldier wrestling in a ring in Tennessee. I had heard that.
They could do it if they want.
Oh, well, I would love to see that if that's a possibility. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people would love to see that. Oh, yeah. I got a couple of comments here. I want to come back to, obviously, Justin Parsley. Justin's quickly become one of my favorite. By the way, another great opponent for you. If I know Mr. Fletcher. So if there was ever one day to see this match between maybe you and Mr. Parsley, but he's got a good one here. Funk and Dreamer versus Foley and Edge, One Night Stand 2, which I remember very well. It highlights the talent that Funk had all the way until the end of his career. Good luck in your IC title match, Atomic Titan.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And Terry Funk, he had that match, I want to say, when he was like 61, and he was still putting his body through stuff that was like, I don't know how this guy was even standing.
I don't know how people do that.
But Terry Funk, I will say this on Terry Funk. Terry Funk, probably, I thought about 7 or 8 years ago was going to die. So, I mean, he was sick for a long time. His body put through a lot. So, I say that. Felix Jones from the IMF would like to say he wants a match with you. Everybody seems like they want a piece of you tonight. The Atomic Titan, is this because you came up short in Battlefield? Is it because of the Intercontinental title tournament? But everybody seems like, I have comments and people coming in lighting up that they want a piece of you right now. I mean, is this because you're a down man right now, or what?
I guess so, maybe. I would probably say, I mean, either that or, they just been seeing what I've been doing in the ring. They want a shot at me, whether I win or lose.
Well, it's because, you know what I think it is? I think that people want a shot at you because you are what's called a proven commodity. You are a name that is well known, right?
Yeah.
You are a name that people want to hear about. It's just like when I mentioned James Taylor, and James Taylor has the following that's unmatched, right? Atomic Titan's the guy that was the world champion here in TBW several times. Atomic Titan is the guy that they think about is TBW. So that's why people want a shot at you.
Now, another thing is when I tell them I'm the best, because, I say that when I come out, they want a real shot to prove they're better than me. So
do you think then that you want to prove that you're the best to these wrestlers that are coming on?
I'll say this. I believe I'm better.
Well, you're gonna have to, right?
Worse. I'm not gonna say I'm not. I'm not gonna say I'm not.
Listen. Whoever says that, right? Listen, I'm doing this a long time, right? I've never had anybody on in my 5 years and anything I've done say, "Well, I'm not the best. I'm not gonna win." Come on. I mean, let's just be real for a second. So
they just need to step up to me, prove they're better if they want to. I've like faced Jack Delta. I've
Yes.
faced Derek
You know,
Destroyer. Two
can I
guys.
ask you, I'll come back to some of this. Can I ask you what your thoughts are on Jack Delta basically saying sayonara? I'm sure you've heard about that
Yeah,
by
I've
now.
heard
And
about it.
obviously, what did you think of that?
He's a good friend. I hate to see him go. I hope he actually does come back once he, gets better from his injury. He has a lot, there's a lot to prove. He is to do. He can more do in the backyard. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And,
I really feel like with Jack Delton, we had Jack on the show, and obviously Jack, I have a lot of respect for, as we all do, and
mhm,
certainly, we saw him in the company, and we just saw him actually on XCW TV, which was
mhm.
so weird. I just saw him literally post WrestleMania. It's kind of weird, right? You're still seeing him out there, but he kind of talked about that as a disclaimer.
Yeah.
But you think about the fact on what he accomplished and really what he did to try to put backyard wrestling out there. You
Mhm.
have to give him a lot of credit. Obviously, we
Yeah.
hope
I do.
he's well. We hope it's not a mental health thing, but obviously,
Mhm.
things are out there. Jason Myers, also from IMF, we're going to see him in the ring coming up in WCE, says he heard the future. He is here. Daniel Banner says that he appreciates you getting his influences. But, somebody here really wants to bring James Taylor up, and I'm going to do it because I'm getting like 5 different comments. And I know that you are not the guy that really has anything to say with this. You're just an on-screen talent, but
Mhm.
Roman Reigns. This is the story for backyarders. The Craven Rage and the Shade. Now, Craven Rage is the other person that certainly gets that talk, and Craven
Yeah.
Rage,
Yeah.
obviously, he's been on here and he's faced the heat, and
Mhm.
obviously the princess here feels it's boring, it's stale, and also feels that you know James Taylor wasn't on Battlefield. And why is it that people have asked about him throughout these shows, and TBW really didn't mention him much on screen since Anniversary? There was people. I had a show here a few days ago, and there was a lot of
Mhm.
people really upset about the James Taylor situation. There was a lot of
Yeah.
people right now. I want to come back to you, and I will. But there's a lot of people upset about James Taylor, and James Taylor is a friend of mine. James Taylor, I'm going to say this. I'm going to break the fourth wall here. I
Yeah.
have actually donated to James Taylor and some different things to help him. James Taylor is a friend. I
Yeah.
just like you're a friend, so I don't
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
be put in the middle. But the fourth wall
I'm,
here is that
I'm,
a lot of people are upset right now that they feel that James Taylor, a lot of people are disappointed. And, I know it's not, you, but what do you feel about that?
well, I mean, I uh, if he wasn't on Battlefield, I believe he got the invite to come, um, but he has his fan base, and if they
They're
want to see
loud, but
him,
they're big. He has
yeah,
80,000 followers out there.
yeah,
Very few people, I'm going to go on the fourth wall because I talk with pro wrestlers. I talk with a lot of people. And, I don't want to make this too much about him. I'm going to come back to you, I promise. But, I deal with pro guys, and they have a tenth of his following. He's following, certainly, it brings
hmm,
ratings, it brings views. He is a name that generates a lot of oomph, and I think people are kind of wondering, like, that's all. It happens.
yeah,
Listen,
yeah. But he's a big name out there. Like I said, I respect him, and if he ever finds his way back to TBW, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I listen. You know what? I mean, I want to put it out there.
Yeah,
I love James Taylor. James, everybody
yeah,
knows I call him just like I love you. I'm a big fan of yours, but I'm a big fan of James Taylor's.
and I hope,
I just put it out there. I
yeah,
obviously am a fan of his, and I want to see the best for everybody.
I hope his
Let's
new
come.
South works out. His new South wrestling. I hope
Yeah,
it
I think the New
works
South
out.
thing is a great thing, but people feel the way they feel, and
Yeah.
you can't blame people. CJ Black says there was a time I was supposed to put a whooping on the Atomic Titan 2, then he heard my promo and got scared off.
Well, I mean, that was supposed to happen. I kind of remember the promo. But I'll
And
be
we
down to
spoke
face
about
you,
it here
CJ.
before on Sportswire. We did speak about it here, I believe, once or twice on the show. We have.
Yeah, but I'll be down to face CJ Black. He's an incredible talent. I love the
Oh,
character he
you know
portrays.
what?
Uh,
Listen, I'll call a spade a spade. I mean, this guy, what he's doing out there,
hmm
what he does in the ring, he can say whatever he wants, but, he's a phenomenal wrestler. Just like we love ROW, but his company
Yeah.
ROW, definitely check them out.
Oh, yeah.
ROW Backyard Wrestling. They're doing some great work out there. And Omen Black would like to say, Titan, I've beat Jason Storm already. It's easy to just be in the ring and it's a cakewalk. He says, Cake Maker didn't mean to get you excited. Okay. I want to say hello to WCE, Adonis Felios.
Yeah.
He's got a show now, apparently. Maybe you might want to go on the Adonis Felios show these
Okay,
days.
I'll be down.
Speaking more of WCE, Skulls the Soul Hunter, who, by the way, in case you haven't heard, has a Skulls action figure. He has a Skulls action figure. Yes.
An action figure, that'd be cool. I'd like to.
Would you want an action figure? How about
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. People to buy it and stuff. Even if it's
that's the question, right? People could have toys, but you got to have people to buy it. But speaking of things to buy, plug your merchandise.
Okay, right here, wearing it. You can get it on redbubbleshop.com. TBW merch shop is the page on
I will pull
Redbubble.
up the TBW link in a second. And
We have a lot of great designs on there. We have a great editor. Shout out to him. He makes all the designs. But we were on TeePublic, but we're trying to get that fixed. It always gets taken down for some reason. I don't know what it has to do with something with how they do stuff. But redbubble.com, we've always been on there. It can be kind of expensive, but we try to mess with the prices to make them lower so people can
buy. I mean, I know it's a big thing because I work with a lot of the British wrestlers, and some of these guys have pro wrestling tees.
Yeah,
the thing pro wrestling tees some people don't like because it's like $25 a shirt plus shipping.
Yeah.
So
if I had my own way to make shirts, I would do that and send them out to people if they wanted them.
Believe it or not, you'll chuckle. I actually have a page of merchandise, but because I don't need the money, I have to be honest, I just don't promote it but I understand XCW has a shop zone, you guys have a page, and it's important to support because the funds help with the production and the company and the fees. Whereas, I'm fortunate that I don't need that, but there are people that do. People have Patreon pages. The British guys do that. So please support whatever you can. I'll pull up the TBW links again in a few minutes. And Soldier wants James Taylor, but I think we just kind of answered that. Atomic Titan fears skulls. Now, you fear skulls? That's a new one. That's a new one there. You fear skulls.
I don't fear nobody.
I figured that. I don't know if you fear skulls, but how come me, Soldier, your best friend CJ weren't about justice for the good guys?
You gotta talk to the commissioner.
Guys down. Titan, make it right then and patch things up with James Taylor. TBW needs to make things right. So that would be a question about management and Taylor, correct? That would be up to management.
Yeah.
Would that be management making that call? Would there be a middle person to get that involved? Would you want to see that? I mean, because people definitely want to see that tonight. And you had to know that his name was going to come up tonight. People definitely were going to because again, he's a favorite here and he's got a following,
he's a favorite in TBW.
And he had a great run out there. And, his run with the Prophet, that worked. And we saw him in your offshoot company with Jack Delta. People really they like watching him. And Adonis Felios wants to make an endorsement for himself. For you, the Felios Effect is the name of the talk show. So that's what he wants to do that here.
I'm on Instagram if you want to,
I'll set it up for you. I'll set it up for you. I'll take care of that. We would have stole the show, then sold it to pay for a hotel and limo. I want to plug TBW's YouTube page. Appreciate if you ever come to the UK, I want to face you. Would you ever want to travel and wrestle elsewhere?
Yeah, I actually want to. I've been to some states, but going out of the country, that would be awesome to do. I've seen some Australia feds and there's even a Greece fed out there. I'm like, whoa, backyard wrestling.
Well, there's a Greek fed called Greek Wrestling Association.
Yeah.
I mean,
but yeah, if I came to the UK, that'd be cool. I'd love to do that.
UK now. I'm going to be very respectful because I'm going to actually handle this for you. I have a lot of respect for the Greek Wrestling Association. I have a lot of respect for Backyard Elite Wrestling. But let me just say, you say you're the best. I would rather you prove it in the UK. How about that? That's a better way to frame it. You kind of get the hint there.
Yeah.
James Taylor with kind of emojis. Skulls to TBW. Well, you're in WCE first.
Okay, well, you got to invite.
back and forth. CJ Black says he'll skip the episode with you and Adonis Felios. And Saul just basically doesn't want skulls in TBW. He said, Omen says, don't do that. All right, so you know what? I want to ask you then. I got a lot. I'll come back to some of this. So then we've got the future of the Atomic Titan lined up here with Gage Flair. But I mean, talk about then what would it mean to you if you become the Tennessee Backyard Wrestling Intercontinental Champion? What would that mean to you in the story?
Well, it would mean a lot because, I would actually, been proving people right then. And actually, because these people here tonight, they seem to say that
It's a mixed crowd. It's a mixed crowd
better.
tonight. It's a very mixed crowd tonight.
Yeah, it's a mixed crowd. I just want to prove these haters wrong, and but I want gold again. That's what I'm chasing, and it's also about shutting Gage up. Like I said, I just it would mean the world to win the Intercontinental Championship. I was a former Continental Champion before.
Yeah, we spoke about that, I think, before in the past.
Yeah, that belt meant a lot to me. I held it, I think, twice, I believe.
I think you held, and I think the first one of the runs you had a long run with it. The second one wasn't as long, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I was the first Continental Champion, so to be like the Intercontinental Champion, that would be awesome. Intercontinental, it's kind of like a world title, actually.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, and the reason I wanted to bring this up here is we're here with the Atomic Titan from Tennessee Backyard Wrestling, who's getting ready to return the rubber match with the Nature Boy Gage Flair for the Intercontinental Championship. You can follow the Atomic Titan, please, on Instagram at Atomic Titan. Also, our dear friends at Tennessee Backyard Wrestling on YouTube and Instagram, Tennessee Backyard Wrestling. Join the movement. Get ready for Rampage 150. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of wrestling. I've always felt, especially when you think about the Intercontinental title for a second, right? Take a step back. The Intercontinental title has always been that title, and even so in TBW, of prestige. It's a title when you think about the lineage. You think about who's held that title. You think about it's almost like it's a title that it almost proves, how can I put it, the measuring stick. The measuring stick of TBW. I know that Ledger, Mr. Ledger, the Anarchy King, he's the world champion. But if you really think about it, right, the Intercontinental title, that's the title that's more for your home. That's more of what you do in the ring. Do you kind of feel the same way in some of those analogies?
Oh yeah, I believe so. It's like the workhorse championship.
Yeah, exactly.
Who works the hardest? That's what I believe, honestly. And that's what, I believe I'm the hardest working guy out there. So, I want to be that champion.
I kind of feel like that title, I know that we wanted the world title. I know that we wanted the U.S. title.
Yeah.
But the Intercontinental title, I think, fits what you do. It's who you are. It's what this story's been about. That's why I think it's so important for you to get the job done here and take that title away from the Nature Boy.
Yeah, I believe so too. And that's what I want to do is, get the job done, hold that title, make it prestigious like I did with the Continental back in the day, and, beat everybody, prove all these people wrong, and, be the best performer I can.
Let me ask you this, as I know that obviously that the season will end soon and we're kind of in the last, how can I put it, maybe third of the season?
Yeah, because we got Summer Bash. These are the events left. Summer Bash, All Hallows.
And we have a show in November.
Yeah, season finale.
So we have my point, which is exactly my point. So my point is right now is we have a third of the season left. So essentially this is the home stretch. They would say the final stretch, they would say in baseball, right? So do you feel like that this is a really important third of the season for you where it's almost like, you know what? I know the first 2/3 in the story hasn't been what we hoped.
Yeah.
But do you feel like that this last third of the season can pretty much wash away all of this talk we've had tonight?
I believe it will. That's what I truly believe that. I believe I'll get the job done and, it'll all come to, a conclusion at the end of the season. No matter whatever, if it's, me beating somebody that, I've been having a rivalry with, or winning a title or something along.
But we're only focused on Gage right now.
Yeah,
that's why to me, because I feel like if you win, whenever this is going to happen, right?
Yeah.
you win this, and I almost feel like, in a way, this shoots you off like a rocket because you
Mhm.
have a title that you're comfortable with. You have a championship that fits the American Dragon. And this all of a sudden is going to shoot you where I kind of think that the last third of the season, you go back with all the momentum in the world and take a title off somebody. We haven't seen that recently in TBW.
Here we have not.
I think that's why that's a big stepping stone here that all of a sudden goes us into next season.
You're right.
You
Yeah.
got all the momentum in the world. So the moral of the story is tonight, I know it's been a tough crowd,
Mhm.
probably expected, but the fact of the matter is you can erase all of this in a short matter of time, as a matter of fact, if you take that Intercontinental Championship away from the Nature Boy, Gage Flair. I have a ton of
Right.
comments here. Let me get to them because people just want to talk, and I want to give people that opportunity. Hey, Mr. Hanky. Maybe.
uh,
Adonis Fellows has a question. TBW should bring back in the beast and legendary former TBW GM Matthew Joseph. Well, that's up to management on that. That's a
Matthew
management.
Joseph will be returning soon.
Okay.
Also, Beast, he's always there.
Yes, Beast is always here. He's
Yeah.
always there. I'm about to go out in the ring and join the stream, Craven Rage style. I sure do hope no one apologizes to me because I'm standing right up. Oh, okay. Watch out, CJ. Skulls is behind you. Yes, Skulls.
Yeah.
Well,
Watch out.
well, I would just say this when it comes to Skulls. I mean, Skulls needs to continue training. He needs to continue the wrestling. That's all. I wish that he will do well in WC, but I think he will focus on those activities. Soldier brings up Shawn Michaels, and I think we kind of answered the James Taylor Soldier GP situation. It's up to really management and Taylor.
Yeah.
Maybe they can work things out. I mean, that's a call that I would have to say that's a management and Taylor situation. I mean, I wouldn't be able to elaborate on something like that because I don't work in TBW.
Yeah.
I'm just, it's not my call. Obviously, I agree with you
Never
that I
said.
would like to see that happen. I would love to see it. I'd love to promote it on Sportswire. I would love to promote it because I'm in the business of promoting. So I would love to see that, and I will go on the record. Soldier is one of the biggest names right now.
Yeah.
IMF is just killing it. And
Uh,
James Taylor's following is legendary. So this would add a whole new level of already a deep following in TBW. So, yeah, let's make it happen. I want to say hello to people in Australia, Mr. Ace Reed. He is from Backyard Elite Wrestling, and he is also the host of the Wired Up podcast. They're on Instagram at backyard_elite_wrestling, also on YouTube as well. Unfortunately, he had some disappointing news that he kind of is going to do some delays with Front Yard Mania, but we'll see about the future of that. Also, Daniel Banner is challenging you, but I'm going to answer this for you. Atomic Titan.
mhm.
Daniel Banner is training in GT Ministries,
Mhm.
and his trainer, Sean Only, and his promoter, that is his boss, technically Gareth Angel. And I love Daniel Banner. I've known him a while. They've basically told him he has to continue to train. So this one I'm going to answer for you. This will happen down the road. Right now, Daniel Banner needs to be at the Fountains Church and listen to his trainers. So I'm saying that in a nice way. I'm not saying that facetiously. It's just that his promoter and his trainer have told him he needs to keep training. So you do you, and he'll do himself, which is to continue to do training. We love Daniel Banner, by the way. Daniel Banner, love Daniel Banner, just like what I love about him. So let me ask you a couple of quick questions as we're getting ready for closing thoughts here and such. What are your goals here for the end of the season?
My goals are to be a better performer every time I step in the ring. Like I said, get gold on my hands, around my waist. Um, prove Gage Flair wrong, beat him. Um, Another one would be to, you know, do something that someone hasn't yet. You know, do
Well, I think one of the things this season would be to take a championship away from
yeah,
somebody. Wouldn't that be one of those goals? No.
yeah, that is a goal.
Let me ask you a follow-up TBW related.
Hmm.
And how have you liked, at least from what you've seen in the ring? I know obviously we don't get along with Resurrection. to some extent, obviously wrestling them. But
Mhm.
how have you liked this kind of meshing with Resurrection? How do you think that's helped you as a performer? And how do you think that's helped some of your peers?
Well, Resurrection, they're doing indie shows,
Yes, yes. And
so
you guys
they
have been in their gym. So,
yeah,
I mean, we've seen that.
so they do a lot of training. So stepping in the ring with them guys is like, it's totally different because you get to face somebody, like you never faced before, and it's a whole new like atmosphere. So it's a it's been a lot of help to us, and them guys have been nothing but good to us. And
How do you feel that's helped you in terms of, let's say, how you approach what you do in the ring? Leave aside the war on screen, but these guys obviously are in
Mhm.
the indies, right? These guys are in gyms, they're in shows, they're putting on things. So, objectively speaking,
Yeah,
how has that helped you in your approach into what you want to do in the ring?
it makes me want to do as good as them, what they've been doing, and killing it like doing these shows. And they're incredible athletes. What they do is like they like jump over like top rope and do all these moves and you never see before. I'm like, holy crap! It's it helps me become a better performer because I I want to be like that. Like how they're doing.
Do you think it's a timing thing where it's almost like it comes up a lot because I speak with different guys, and there's almost like a timing. Like there's like they've got it like snap, crackle, and pop. When I
Hmm.
because I watch a lot of wrestling, I'm gonna talk in a different light in a second.
Yeah,
And there's certain wrestlers and certain shows, right? So there's backyard wrestling, underground, YouTube, XCW calls it amateur pro, DBW's like just about the line of the indies, and then you have the indie/pro wrestlers, whoever else, right? When you watch Resurrection, you guys have a different type of speed. When you watch them do things in the ring, how has that maybe helped you in terms of certain things that you may feel that you might lack to be able to help improve? Talk to me about that.
well, you say that to like define them as a so they're like an indie.
No, I mean like so they fall on the radar scale of
Yeah,
almost like indie/pros,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
We're obviously in TBW trying to get to a certain level, not so
yeah.
much in our wins losses, but in terms of like how we capture what they do in the ring.
Okay, yeah,
Have you watched that in that way and tried to use some of the things that they have done to maybe improve some things that you do in the ring? Because, like I said, I watch a lot of wrestling
yeah.
and you
I
can
pay attention
tell different
a lot.
things.
I pay attention a lot to what they're doing and how they get that crowd going as well. So it makes me want
Ring
to
psychology.
yeah, ring psychology, yeah. And
Okay.
you know it's awesome what they do.
All right, let me get to some more comments here. I just made a skulls figure, flushed it though. Well, okay. I'm getting a lot of questions here, and Soldier has a question. Where would you have put? It doesn't have to have been in TBW. Soldier GP and James Taylor. Where would you have put that on the card?
Well, you want to be first or last, I believe, right?
Well, yeah. I mean,
Pretty much.
first is kind of I mean, yeah. I mean, I
Right?
think I, I said it was an attraction match. That's what
Yeah,
I said. I,
yeah.
second, that's fair. CJ Black, I think you're showing. No, I think you're showing fire today. I think you're
Hmm.
doing a great job. So everybody's got differences of opinion. So I mean, I understand where CJ is coming from, but you don't want to be like me. You don't want if you be like me, you're not going to be able to do is what you do. So I mean, look, everybody's got differences, and CJ
Yeah,
is great. By the way,
yeah.
he's coming back to Sportswire
He's
soon.
the
We're gonna
good guy.
definitely. He might be a great guy to some people.
Hey,
I
we're
mean,
both
everybody.
good guys, I guess.
Okay, all right. That was cool. I will continue to train and build myself up. I wouldn't say a match right away, but I would say in the future down the line. But again, I'm going to say what your trainer and your promoter, who is a friend of mine, have said. You have to keep working at it. So,
Keep working at it.
that's all. That's all.
Keep working at it. Chase your dream.
James Taylor's here, and he would like to say it's time to talk and time to be honest. I don't know what. Do you know what
Okay.
that means at all? Or is that
No,
any? All right.
Yeah.
So then we'll anything. Yeah. All right. All right. I'll leave that at that. I'll let that sit for a few minutes. Banner is gonna come. Oh, Daniel Banner. Okay. I get. I couldn't read the talk here. Popcorn. CJ Black says, please let this happen. I'm here for it. Omen Black, more Hadouken. Yeah, because I'm going to brief you on this. So Daniel Banner was in a Rumble, and I'm sure you know Hadouken from I think Mortal Kombat, and he went into the Rumble against his trainer, who's like 6'5", like 250, all muscle, and he's like not as big as him, and tried to do
Yeah.
Hadouken, and he laughed at him and basically threw him out of the ring. Wasn't what I would have did. James Taylor says, bring him on, bring him on. But I don't have a message that James Taylor wants to come on. He's saying he wants to be honest. That's a different here. Watching a Titan interview. Well, I don't know what the president
A
speaks like.
Biden speech.
That's not fair. I'm going to say I work in the political world. I don't think you're a Joe Biden speech. And I'm not saying Joe Biden's good or bad. I don't think you have that type of speech. Okay. And I've worked for
what I'm going to say. That's all it is.
Okay, fair enough. Street Fighter, I apologize. Tom, you're fired. I don't know. You have to remember, I watch like 50 to 60 matches a week, and I have a life. So I didn't know if it's Mortal Kombat. I didn't know if it was Dragon Ball Z. I apologize to anybody offended. How about that? Also, Adonis says, no worries, Tom. I'm not using my own talk show to steal your thunder. No, honestly, Adonis, I think that you have a great show. I've caught it, by the way. And I hope that people check it out. And I hope that people watch it. You can do that at WC Heat. That's WC Heat on Facebook and YouTube. And catch them at WCHeat.com. And okay, all right. So, I mean, obviously, James Taylor said he wants to be honest. I don't know if I'm waiting for a punchline on that or not. That's obviously, I'll let that sit for a few minutes. But, I mean, is there anything that you'd want to say to the Nature Boy Gage Flair before the rubber match?
I like to say that every single obstacle that has been thrown at me this season, I've overcame. Whether I won or lost, I've been through the beat the clock challenge. I've went toe to toe with Ledger, Gage Flair, beat Max Chaos, beat Joe Anderson, beat Fat Asian, beat Xavier Thorne.
Yep.
The only two I could name that I've lost is to Daniel Cole and Ledger and Gage, but I've actually beat Nature Boy Gage Flair.
We spoke about that, yes.
At Anniversary, but I see Super Special. His foot was under the rope. I turn around, pedigree, all that. The thing I'm gonna say is, like I said, every obstacle thrown at me, I've overcame this season. I'm a fighter. I'm the warrior. It's right here in my heart for Tennessee Backyard Wrestling. I never give up. And Gage Flair, if I so happen to get that rematch, that rubber match in this trilogy, if it so happens to be a trilogy, I'm going to prove you wrong. You and Triple J are nothing but cowards. And I am going to win the Intercontinental title. That time comes.
Well, I'm going to tell you this much here.
Ready.
I will get to comments, and I will do this before closing thoughts here. I will say this much. Sometimes adversity, from what I've learned, is a good thing in life. Any moral of the story is, you go through things, you learn from them, right? If you win all the time, it doesn't matter. You don't, it's almost like a cycle, right? Nothing changes, right? But when you sometimes go through what you've went through this year, what you've went through, especially at the Intercontinental title situation, I mean, like, that's really tough to go through. I mean, so maybe this is what's going to propel you, like I said before, the last third of the season, give you that shot in the arm, give you the momentum that you need, be the first person, I believe, this season to take a title from somebody else, and kind of build you back to continue the story to where you go, to where you need to be back for the fans of the Atomic Titan who've been waiting to see that. So I would certainly say, listen, it's definitely possible. I also want to pull up here some more links for Tennessee Backyard Wrestling. Make sure.
And, Tom, like I said, I get a lot of inspiration from Daniel Bryan, obviously. When he was in WWE, like I was probably 14 at that time when he was, the Yes movement was going. He captured the
Yep.
world title at, WrestleMania 30.
Sure.
Like that was a big moment right there for me as a fan because he's my favorite wrestler of all
Well,
time.
listen, that movement, if you think about Daniel Bryan,
And it,
just like you, that movement was really inspired by the fans, the people.
yeah,
Otherwise, Daniel Bryan would have never. He never would have mattered. He would have never been. We wouldn't even be talking about Daniel Bryan today. He would have been just guy that would have been this indie darling. Maybe he would have worked his way back up into Japan or back in Ring of Honor, but he never would have been what he, came out to be.
yeah, and I'll take a lot from that, that story of how he came into WWE and then he was tag champs, winning world title, lost that in like 18 seconds. Then, came back, won the big one, got hurt again. I mean, I do take a lot of inspiration from him. He's a amazing technical wrestler, one of my favorites. And
Oh, no
I
question.
like the
I've had a lot of guys come on, and this is even like some of my pros that come on,
uh
and they always talk about him. It's him and Rey Mysterio are their inspiration.
Mysterio.
The guy.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the future, although I'm going to pull up a link one more time before I pull the back and forth between James Taylor and Famous Lie. Titan, here's some words of advice. I mean, this is a little different here. People who book the shows shouldn't give themselves a title. I mean, are we talking about other promotions? I mean, does anybody want to clarify that? Because that's something I'm a little confused upon a little bit. I mean, forgive me for that. That's
I'm the owner of TBW, so
I was actually
you don't
trying
see
to
me
be
as
very diplomatic on that.
you don't see me as champion.
I actually was trying to like actually not break the fourth wall there, but obviously, I guess Mr. Taylor feels a certain way toward the way things went down, and obviously, it's unfortunate. I would like to see it differently. I'm sure you would as well, and
Hmm.
fans of his, and I mean, never say never, right? Would that be a fair analogy?
Yeah, I
All right.
agree.
I mean,
However he feels, I mean, it's all
would
good.
I mean, if he called you, would you pick up his phone?
Yeah, I'd talk.
If you called him, do you think he would pick up your phone call?
He might. I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes he might not.
All right. Well, maybe there's a way that if it was so to be desired, that maybe there was somebody that could, kind of get everybody involved and say, hey, you know, let's work it out. I mean, actually, if I could break the fourth wall slightly, this is not about you so much. Actually, one
Yeah.
of my jobs is I'm a mediator technically.
Mhm.
I hold a license here in New York, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of a mediator. So I'm actually used to kind of resolving different things and kind of bringing people sometimes that have one side to another. So if there was ever a way, and again, I don't, it's not for me, right? Not my business. I have to worry about Sportswire. You have to worry about TBW. Mr. Taylor has to worry about his things. I would just offer it. I am a mediator. Actually, in my life, I'm a commissioner of deeds. So I actually help,
Mhm.
put things in a perspective, and, I can do those things. But that's,
Yeah.
certainly I could see that somebody else feels that respect the people who book the shows.
Like I'll just say this: Ledger's not the guy that's booking the show. We're the owners. So
Okay.
I don't know
So,
what's up.
I really wasn't here to ask you about those things.
Okay, I was just clarifying for everybody.
Sure. Okay. I want you here because I want to talk to you. I don't want to,
Yeah, yeah,
I respect you, and I put it out there.
yeah, yeah.
That's
I
all.
understand.
I want to say hello to the American Viper, Cody Flores, though. How you doing, Cody? I saw you followed me on Instagram. I definitely will get in touch with you after we're off the
Pretty
air.
Flores, TBW guy.
Yes,
TW.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
want to say hello to him, and I want to say hello to Manny Cobra again, and I also want to say hello here. James Taylor says, "Do I really need to come on the show and confront him?" Well, I mean, it's up. Obviously the eyeballs are coming out here. Titan doesn't hold a title, so I'm confused. Now I got like 1,000 comments here right now, so I'm gonna have to read them off here. Zero Deus wants Taylor on. CJ Black says he's pissed. Why don't you tell everyone here that you said you weren't scared of me? I still don't know. Can you clarify something about this? I don't. I'm gonna shoot here. I don't know any of this, so
I was
I
just
don't.
he
Is
was
there
just
everything
saying
okay?
he
I don't know about this.
he apparently thought I was talking about him, but I wasn't. But I mean, I was just telling him I wasn't scared because he was giving me a warning apparently, but it's whatever.
Okay. Okay. Well, listen, I don't want to see anybody go down any type of, like I
I
said.
just don't like drama. It's whatever though.
Okay. And that's, you know what? Listen, I am a reverend also. I hold a license here in New York. I'm a mediator. So if there's any problems, I'm more than happy to do anything I could for people. You know what? Forget it, Titan. Good luck. I'm done with TBW because I need to remove myself from toxic environments. Spoiler to anyone watching. So,
Okay, well, good luck.
he also says, what is this dude talking about? Fun fact, Ledger books his own storyline, is in charge of it. You tell people that, Titan. Again, I don't know. I don't know. That's, I don't know what to say on that. It's not my liberty. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say on those things. It's not, you know, I don't know. I don't know what to say. People are going to have their opinions, but I will say that James Taylor has an opinion, and there's a
Yeah,
lot of fans of James Taylor out there. And, I would like to see those fans happy. And I would like to say that, if there was a way, I would like to see Soldier and James Taylor in TBW. I just would like, if there was a way, you know, I would like to see that. I think that people would like to see that. And also, Titan, can we talk about my future against you?
he's a great rival.
Yes, absolutely. And I know you have history, and I want to tell the Viper that he followed me on Instagram, and
Yeah,
I will definitely message him.
he
So,
was my first opponent in UWA when I was wrestling there. He was actually making his debut as well. That was my contract match, and then he came over to what I had PWF, and we were feuding against, or I wasn't feuding, but I faced him for the battleground title and all that. He's a cool guy.
absolutely. Definitely, I want to be able to, support those that, continue to support us also. Uh, Mr. Taylor would like to say, I'm commending you for defending TBW. I did too. And then before you know it, you'll see. Good luck. So obviously, that's his opinion. If you want to win a world title, you shouldn't gaslight people into doing it. You should want them to come to you about winning it. I mean, again, that's stuff that's what we call inside baseball. That's inside baseball stuff. Again, it wouldn't be, a liberty for me to comment, but I will say again that James Taylor is a friend, and I'm a
Yeah,
personal friend of his, just like I like having TBW come on Sportswire. So I, again, would like to say respectfully, because again, my title says the Reverend, right? So what I would like to see is people, at the very least, work with one another to kind of at least be on good terms. So if there's a way that there's anybody, I'm happy to do that. If Mr. Taylor even wants to come on, we could resolve it here. I'd be happy to do that if that's something he would want. I'm okay with that too, but I would certainly like, again, in the interest, to have everybody on the same team. Also, the American Viper would like to say thanks, Titan. Appreciate it, man. CJ Black says, screw it. I'll take the title of Shade and drop it to Ledger. I'll be the Iron Sheik and drop it to Taylor. That's the Hogan reference. If you respect a veteran like someone like Taylor, then he shouldn't have to ask about the idea of it. You should all have went to him and offered. And I guess this is about the fact that, oh, there we go. We lost you there. Oh, that's okay. It happens. I guess this is really what it comes down to is I think that people would have liked to have seen Ledger Shade and James Taylor. It never happened. And I think that there's some disappointment on that, basically. I think this is what a lot of people have come on here and felt that was a match that, and I even said it, that would have drew a lot of viewers. It would have had a lot of household attention. And I think that people would have liked to have seen that match happened. I think that's really what a lot of this, I think, comes down to. And, I think that really for business, it would have been, as a businessman, I would have liked to have seen that match if there was a way to have made that happen. So I will, say that I would like to have seen James Taylor and Ledger Shade wrestle once. I don't know who would have won the match, but
Yeah,
that's what people feel, but look, there's a lot of people. I like to see you wrestle too. I like to see you and Jason Storm wrestle.
Jason Storm. Yeah, I want to wrestle
I
him.
think that would be a great match.
I'm down to wrestle anybody.
I think that that'll happen one day. I think it'll all
Yeah,
sort itself out. Listen,
hopefully in the near future.
right? I'm gonna. All right. Well, let's end before we get to closing thoughts. Let me end on this. Right? Hulk
Hmm.
Hogan and Vince McMahon didn't get along for years. Right? Bret Hart and Vince McMahon. Right? Bret Hart and Vince McMahon didn't get along for years. Right? But what happened? Bret Hart came back to WWE.
Yeah.
Listen, Ultimate Warrior, right before his death, right? He sued Vince McMahon. He said all those things, right? Said all those things about Hulk Hogan. He made peace with him. Macho Man Randy Savage said a lot of things about Hulk Hogan, right? They made peace.
Yep.
There might be some issues right now between TBW and James Taylor, depending on whose side of the coin is. But one day, maybe you'll see something that people might want to see. James Taylor's going to New South Pro Wrestling. You're going to wrestle Gage Flair. That's what that's good stuff. And I think that, again, the moral of the story is today we might be, feeling the way we feel, but never say never. Never say never. What do you want to say in your closing thoughts? Obviously, we've talked a lot tonight. You've
Hmm.
heard a lot about what your future is. We spoke a lot about Battlefield. We spoke about Resurrection, 150 coming up, this challenge, which I'm sure we'll hear more about when it comes to you and Gage Flair, when that'll take place. We've heard some stuff about James Taylor, which I'm sure you probably had to have expected. You watched the show, I'm sure, or you heard about it on Sunday. So, people certainly feel, and you got people that have also questioned your future. So I want to give you the floor now, give you some closing thoughts. Anything else you want to plug, share, say, and the
Like I
floor
said,
is yours. You're the American Dragon. Fire away.
redbubble.com, TBW merch shop.
I'm going to put that link up now,
Look
redbubble.com.
forward to the rest of the season. A lot of things are going to happen, and you guys are going to be on the edge of your seat, just like you were at Battlefield when Legend.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
And hope you look forward to Summer Bash. That's our next big event after 150 coming up next week. And then, we got season finale in just a few months. And I'm looking forward to
Man, time flies. I had you on, and it was in May, and it was like we were not even through like the first half of the season. Now it's like we're going into the end of the season. Just time flies. I mean,
Hmm. Yeah,
that's why I said at the beginning, you got to appreciate every moment.
you got to thank and TBW since the very beginning, and time has flown by. I couldn't even believe it. Like, it's so weird.
Listen, I'm doing this 5 years. I remember when I first started, it was on a Skype call. I
Mhm.
mean, we went through I went through Skype, we went through just audio, we went through Zoom, and we went through, now we have all these videos and an internet radio dial. So the point is, we're always evolving, and that's why we want to follow Tennessee Backyard Wrestling on Instagram at Tennessee Backyard Wrestling, YouTube at Tennessee Backyard Wrestling. Also, check out redbubble.com. We're getting ready for Summer Bash, just like IMF and DKW are putting on Summer Bash next year, July 5th to the 7th. They'll have more on that Thursday night because IMF, WC, and DKW are going to be here in your chair. So they're going to feel the heat that you felt tonight. We'll see how that goes. Obviously, a slew of WC, IMF, and DKW stars will be in the house. That'll be about 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 8:30 p.m. Central Time. So the good news is I'll have enough time to watch Equalizer 3, come back, get on the air, and we'll have more Equalizer-like action with Omen Black, Soldier GP, Sean Jovi, James Marshall, Dark Kron, Matthew Forsaken, Craven Rage, and everybody else here. So all great stuff. And we want you to be followed also on Instagram at Atomic Titan. And we can check you out and all the great things you are doing. So, my friend, obviously, we're rooting for you coming up here in a few weeks. We look forward to having you back on, maybe next time with some gold.
Maybe.
And Hopefully some better days ahead. And I thank you as always for coming on the show. And
Welcome.
I look forward to it. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the American Dragon himself, the Atomic Titan, who spoke all things related to his war that's continuing with Gage Flair, the Nature Boy, for the Intercontinental Championship that'll resume here on TBW TV here very shortly. My name, again, is the Reverend Tom Bryce. If you're on sportnarium.com/player, you're going to go back to your regularly scheduled programming. If you're on YouTube and Twitter, I'll be back tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. British Standard Time with Nick Cheese Logan, and Thursday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time with IMF, WCE, and DKW. Adonis Felio says, thank you. And yes, thank you, Adonis, for all your support. Thank you to all of the comments out there. I want to say thank you
all for watching.
Yep, thank you for everybody. Thank you to James Taylor. Thank you to Omen Black, CJ Black, Cody Flores, Manny Cobra, just Daniel Banner, Jason Storm, whoever else. Just thank you for your support. Thank you for everything. And have a great night. Stay safe. Stay well. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. The number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio.